And howdy, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. I am one of your hosts, Eric Allard, Senior Vice President of Tilson Homes, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson Company. So grateful to be coming at you today with the greatest, the best, the most fantastic real host of the show, Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience for Tilson Homes. This is Dawn Dantzler. Good afternoon, Dawn.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm great. I am great. It's going well. We have beautiful weather. Everything's wonderful. We got a taste of fall. It's been like in the 50s in the mornings.
Nice.
Spectacular. How about you? How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing good.
Well, good. Glad you're here. Glad everyone is here. We want everyone to be dropping your comments into the comments section. We are live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Vimeo. Mm-hmm. There's no telling where all this is being fed to. I don't think we're live on LinkedIn yet. They've not accepted us doing that kind of thing.
No, we're not approved. Not approved.
Yeah, they're not approved. That's how rich this content is, ladies and gentlemen. It is too good for LinkedIn. So tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building. Tell us a part of the process that you're in. If you're just now looking, if you're thinking about building a home on your land in rural Texas, if you have already purchased and you're in the process, if you are under construction, if you've already closed, we want to hear from everybody what's going on, where you are in the process. And yeah. So Dawn, do we have anyone joining us yet?
We do. We have
just
Ted
talking in a room. Oh, no, it's not yet.
We have Ted joining us from Valley View. He is watching his new home be framed as we speak. So
welcome, awesome. Ted. Awesome.
We've got John coming in from Pipe Creek.
All right.
And Shannon and Danielle, they're in Wood County, signed to their contract last week, waiting for stakeout to be scheduled.
Beautiful. Awesome. Congratulations, Shannon and Danielle. That's awesome.
Yes. Thank you for joining the Tilson family.
Yeah.
Christopher, hello from the Rouch family, getting electrical and HVAC rough in near Cameron, building San Felipe. Awesome.
Beautiful.
We got Jessie. She applied for financing with Matt this morning. Nervous, excited, anxious, and sweaty. It's going to be fine.
Jessie, that's great. Yeah, no, you are in very good hands. Matt Howe is spectacular. He takes care of all of our customers. Well, a lot of our customers, not all of them, I guess, but a large number of them. And you're going to be in great hands. Been doing it for almost 17 years for us, so you're solid.
Yep. Then we have Lewis saying hello. Hey.
What's up, Lewis?
We got Linda framed in Fredericksburg. Yay!
Hey, all right.
Awesome.
Welcome, Linda.
Love to hear it. Katie, watching from Burnett, building a Preston B in Burnett County, doing our color selection and stakeout next week. Ooh, you've got a busy week. That'll be fun.
Busy week. I love this work from home stuff. This is fantastic. It makes it so great for our customers to be able to do stuff.
Yeah. Jackie just met our builder, Chris, yesterday. Excited to start construction in Waller County. Awesome.
Yeah, Chris is usually like 4 inches over there from me. Not usually. When he's in the office, which is rare, he's like right over there. So
nice.
Great dude. I'm not sure. I need to find out where he stands on the whole Boston. I think he's originally from the Massachusetts area. So we got this Astros Red Sox thing going on right now. I need to get to the bottom of this with Chris Coffin. So, Jackie, if you talk to Chris, find out where he stands on this Astros Red Sox thing. And then,
Jackie, tell him where he stands on this Astros.
Also, that'd be a good idea. It'd be a very good idea. Very healthy for him.
Hint. We got Pamela. She is at the Kentmore Cabinet Showroom looking at cabinets.
Right,
awesome.
I've actually never been there. So, congratulations. Not the one in San Antonio.
Yeah. Been to the one in Houston. Jen and Ray, their foundation forms just went up in Atascosa City. Yay! That's awesome.
Beautiful.
We've got over from YouTube. Hello, building the Angelina and Seguin. Found out yesterday we're released to build. Yay!
There we go.
Congratulations.
There we
That's
go.
awesome.
We're in suburban Seguin. Coming in from
That's
suburban
great.
Seguin. Anybody who can name that song, by the way, and or the artist behind that song that refers to suburban Seguin, will have some Tilson swag headed your way. So get on in on that. Only I know the answer. I can promise you that. So
Okay. Neil's coming in from Mansfield. We'll be building in solar.
it's about a wedding in suburban Seguin. So whenever you're ready.
Interesting. All right. Joss wants to know if we're going to add the casita options designed to the website, and also what is the starting price on those. So we're going to add them to the website as probably a blog post. It's a little bit too complicated to add that in as an actual plan because they don't come with a kitchen. So then my disclaimer would have to get like, yay, long. So we're going to put it in the blog, kind of show the options. Eric, do you have any idea on pricing?
Yeah, it's going to obviously depends on counting, Josh, just like everything else. But they're starting around the 130s range, 120s to 130s is the starting price for the casita, and that's pretty well. It's like 824 with your living area or so. We can have a conversation real quick about price per. Oh, wait a minute. Who's our first? We got some answers. I was
going to say, do we have song answers?
Yes. And I'm going to give it.
Charlie Robinson.
It's close enough, Diane. It's close. Now you beat Kimberly
by
guesses
just
for that. Hair, and it is
Jesse says the wedding song.
It is. It's Charlie Robinson. There's no N actually.
No N.
Charlie Robinson. But I think Diane was the first to get it in there by. I'm not kidding you, Kimberly. 9 seconds. By 9 seconds, we can actually definitively say, Diane, you won it by 9 seconds. Charlie Robinson. I'm going to allow it. On Jeopardy, it would not, but these are Eric Tilson rules, so we can give a letter every now and then. Yes, it's the wedding song by Charlie Robinson, and he is from Bandera, Texas. So little hometown boy, and Texas country history for you guys. So there's your Texas country trivia for the day. and Kimberly is giving the 9 seconds. Well, I mean, is it a phone thing? Is it a typing thing? I don't know.
Well, I think she's booing over the 8 seconds.
Maybe so. But yeah. It was a 9 second split. I mean, that's like Olympic style. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Anyway,
all right.
Sorry about that, Dawn. Sorry to derail the show with a little. But hey, we got direct message us. How do we message? Do we message? Direct message? How do we message?
Yep, she's on Facebook, so direct messages.
Send us a message, and we will get you some Tilson swag coming your way.
Awesome. Let me scroll back up to where we were.
Or Eric derailed the show.
That's fine. Let's see. Casita. All right, Chris. Chris is in Fort Worth. We'll build in the hills above Possum Kingdom. Have our trip to Spring, Huntsville, and College Station planned next month. Wow.
All right. If you need restaurant recs, let me know, Chris. I can hook you up. I know where you're going to be around lunchtime, but let me know which of those 3 towns you'll be around, and I'll tell you some places to go.
Excellent. We've got Linda coming in from Colorado Springs. She had a very important virtual meeting with Darla yesterday.
Okay. So awesome. Great, Linda. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. We got Tracy waiting on the estimating department so we can meet with our builder in Henley.
Okay. All right. So
awesome.
Heading out 290. All right, Tracy.
Yeah. Awesome. And then Melissa has a question. Can we bring in dirt of our own or from a pond being dug on our land and put it where we think we might need it for the house? Or is there any reason that might be a bad idea? Not building for a few more years.
Okay, Melissa. So first of all, thank you for asking. That's a great question. And thanks for watching. Thanks for asking. Here's what I'd say to that. If you know exactly how big the home's going to be, it's probably going to be okay. I will tell you depending on where you're building, and that might matter a little bit, but we're going to probably end up digging through that fill. And the reason for that is because we probably aren't going to have compaction test results on that. Now, if they're building a pond with it, I don't know what kind of material it is. That soil hasn't been tested. We're going to test it, but what's going to end up happening is most likely the engineer is going to recommend, because it's what's known as nominal fill, not compacted fill. They're probably going to advise that we dig through dig our beams through the fill. Now, so your house will still be 12 inches or so above the fill, but the beams will be dug through, or the fill's a foot deep, 2 foot deep, 3 feet deep, whatever. They're going to have us dig all the way through that into undisturbed soil, into virgin soil. Because what we want is the entirety of your home to be sitting on the same type of soil. So let's say your property's sloping a little bit like that, and the fill over here is going to be real thick, and the fill over here is going to be real thin. We don't want this part of the house sitting on virgin soil and this part of the house over here sitting on some kind of nominal uncompacted fill, because they're going to react differently to excess moisture or lack of moisture. Right. And if they act differently, that's when the house does funky things that we don't want it to do. So they're most likely going to advise. I don't know that you'll be saving any money. I also understand pond contractors, they don't want to haul the material out because that costs money, costs diesel, costs trucking. So they're looking for some place to put it. A lot of them will just say, "Why don't you let me build you a pad out here? It'll be great." I'm not disparaging your pond contractor, because my luck is probably your dad or brother or someone that you love. So I don't want to do that. But the other thing is the size. Like if your overall home you're looking at is going to be a certain size, you want the pad to be bigger than that, right? The top of the pad. So the pad's flat like this and then goes down at an angle. You want that part that's outside the footprint of the home to be like 3 to 5 feet bigger than the house all the way around. So if your house is, let's say, overall, 40 feet by 50 feet, you want that pad to be 50 feet by 60 feet at the top of the pad, at the top of the trapezoid, if you will. So that's something to consider, because sometimes there's a lot of material that comes out of a pond when you're digging it. Not all of it is suitable for building on. Some of it is. Some of it's select fill. It'd be perfect, exactly what you want to build on. But is it going to be enough to build it 100% out of select fill, starting at the bottom all the way up to finish at 50 by 60? I don't know. So it can be done. We could probably end up digging through it. It's not the end of the world. We dig through pads all the time. The main thing is the height. You'll still have the height that you're going to get, but you'll probably end up paying a little bit extra for deeper beams or for hard points. So,
okay.
I know it's a long answer, Melissa.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the very technical term that I always use is unknown soil makes our engineers twitchy. Yeah. So they like to do extra stuff to make sure that your house is going to be okay, and that to them would be unknown soil. So
we'll need to start checking to see if Netflix has trademarked twitchy yet, though, before we start getting, because they have Twitch now. So we'll check on that.
All right.
Netflix, we're sorry if it is an infringement. I blame Dawn.
I didn't use it in the same way, so it's fine. We got Kimberly coming in from San Antonio. We've got Joss watching from Houston, building in Conroe, building the Cypress. Should be closed the first week of November. Yay!
All right.
That's awesome. So excited. And I think that we have a date to come out to your house and get a video and all kinds of good stuff. So excited about that. And Diane, our winner, she's in Grayson County getting her roof today.
All right, Diane.
Awesome.
Push the cold weather down to us. Bring us cold weather. Yes. Cold. But not rain. Just cold weather.
No. Jen and Ray are so far, and they're building a Hillsboro. Awesome. Oh, cool. We got Alan building a modified Whitney in Colorado County. His framing started last week.
Wonderful, Alan. Thanks for sharing.
We've got Nick listening from the road after taking a virtual tour of a beautiful Gonzales that will be up on the website next week.
Okay, so Nick will not be answering your chat.
Yeah, Nick will not be answering you guys on YouTube today because he's driving.
He's driving.
All right, we've got Will coming in from Klondike. Good to see you again.
Yeah, Will.
We got Joe enjoying the Gulf Coast heat, and go Astros.
Man, we need a win tonight, buddy. We need a win bad.
Yeah. All right. Destiny is coming in from Waco, Texas. Here hopes to work with us soon. This may be a silly question, but if I bought a floor plan, can you build that home on my land?
What do you think, Dawn? What are we going to do? What are we going to do if they buy it?
So what we're going to do, Destiny, if you haven't bought the plans yet, I would say don't buy them. Because we will always, even when you bring us your own plans, even if it's a full set of plans, we're going to redraw them. Because every builder, every designer does things a little bit differently. So we want to make sure that we're having a specific conversation with you about all the details. How thick are the walls? How tall are the baseboards? All of that kind of stuff. So our engineering team is going to redraw them, which they'd have to do anyway for your foundation design. So if you kind of have an idea and there's anything that you want to change about those plans that you have, bring them in to our design center. And what they're going to do when you get there is look at your plans, look at our plans, and find the house that we have that's already closest to that. And then they're going to pull out a red pen and start making changes, probably some white out too. But they're going to start changing our plan to match exactly what you want out of your new design. And they'll use that to kind of give you a ballpark price. And that's just easier, faster for them to do pricing because we know how much it costs to build our stuff. If you're comfortable with that price point, they'll send it off to our team to get a more like final quote. But that's kind of how they're going to do that. So yes, but also no. Kind of the answer to that one. But we will get you the house.
I would advise you save your money, Destiny. Honestly, go to the team there in Waco. They're taking appointments now. Go see them and take the plan you're considering doing because there's probably something you're going to change about it anyway. In which case, just start over with one of ours, and we could probably do it for less with saving you a bunch of money. You don't need to spend on drawings and then have them redrawn. So bring them to us, and let's go from there.
All right. Then we have Tanya coming in from Huntsville.
Hello, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya. Then we've got Thomas looking forward to building near Bryan. How crazy difficult is it to have power lines relocated? Can that be done? We have extra space on our land, but they are going straight over our ideal spot.
That's because you're just lucky, Thomas. So the answer is, yeah, they probably can. So you're probably BTU, which is Bryan Texas Utilities. So remember, every power company in Texas is deregulated. So there's not one overarching power company, not one overarching set of rules for how power companies behave. So there's typically what's called co-ops. BTU is the one that you're probably falling under. That's what we're under in our office in Bryan off Highway 21. So contact BTU, have them send a rep out there. You're going to meet a rep, one of the representatives out there at your property and say, hey, look, here's where the power is. Here's what I'm wanting to do. I want the house to be right here. Clearly, you guys don't want it right there. What can we do about moving the lines? The only thing that might affect that is if the power that's coming through there is going to neighbors like behind you. Because obviously that's going to affect that easement that they're coming over. Someone would have deeded them that easement, perhaps the owner prior to you. So, we can't disrupt their power necessarily. Although I will tell you that what they can do is take them down, they send a notification, hey, you're going to be down for 4 hours while we move power from here over here. We did that with the neighbor behind me. Where I have a little place and it was super, we just did it while she was at work. Everything was super cool. And, but it's up to every utility company as to what they'll do or not do. BTU's not that difficult commercial side. The residential stuff though, they're pretty easy to work with. So, reach out to them, send a rep out, tell them what you're trying to do and ask them their advice on where the best place to go. And if you don't get the answer you want, go ask for somebody else and do it again. And that's just the Eric way, though. I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but no doesn't mean no. No means ask again later, or ask
somebody else.
Great question, though, Thomas. It can affect you. Get the house where you want it.
All right. And then we have Lupe, who I guess came across this. So she's telling Thomas that they had to remove her line before construction and then had to redo the underground lines. But she had to do all of the digging and purchase the conduit. So sounds like
not uncommon. Yeah, the power company. That's a great point, Lupe. Thanks for chiming in, because what they may say is like, hey, look, we'll pay for overhead right here, but if you want it over there, no problem, but you're going to have to pay for underground. We're going to remove the overhead. You have to pay for the underground. And a lot of companies, they do it a little bit different. Some are like, okay, you pay for the trenching and the conduit, the pipe, and we'll provide the wire and pull the wire. And again, I wish there were across the board. I kind of wish it would be nice if there were a broad across the board answer, but because Texas is deregulated, that's not going to be the case. Every power company gets to do their own thing so long as it meets the code.
Yeah, it sounds like Lupe was with BTU because she was confirming that before she gave her answer. So
wonderful.
We'll take her advice.
Yeah,
Probably good. Jay is asking, my question is about 2-story models. I do not see many options.
Well, the reason is because 91% of our customers, Jay, are building in an unincorporated area of Texas. They're outside of an incorporated city, which means, broadly speaking, they have an acre or more. So they have a lot more land to build on. Most of our customers, they don't want to build up. They kind of want to build out. They don't want to go upstairs. They don't want kids' rooms upstairs. They don't like using stairs. They'll typically put like a bonus room, maybe a bonus and theater and 1 bedroom up there. We see that quite a bit, but predominantly our customers, our demographic, the kind of country rural lifestyle that they're after, a straight up 2-story home looks a bit awkward on an acre or more.
It looks
a
really small.
3,000 square foot box is 1,500 down, 1,500 up. Whereas a 2,700 square foot 1-story is got a little more curb appeal to it. And again, they want to be able to go out wider, have predominantly everything on 1 floor as opposed to going up. So that's kind of why you see that. We just have very, very few customers that want a straight up 2-story. We have a few, like you mentioned, but most of our customers are after wider, not taller.
Yep. Absolutely. And then let's see, Christopher is asking what kind of cost comes with adding a basement?
Couldn't tell you, Christopher, because we don't do them. So kind of going back to where we build, it's a great question, Christopher. We just don't, the soil here is not conducive to that. We have a very high water table relative to the rest of the United States. Mostly has to do with our proximity to the coast and proximity to, Texas, thank God, has a lot of groundwater, which is a good thing. Now it's getting scarce in some places. Getting the hill country is getting kind of heavily populated, very densely populated, and water is becoming more and more of a flashpoint for folks. But predominantly where we are, the water table is a little bit too high for that. And by the time we start digging down, you're going to have to do such significant moisture mitigation that it becomes cost prohibitive. Trying to keep the water out of because don't forget that concrete itself is porous.
Right.
So water can go through concrete. Concrete's a sponge. It's a very hard sponge, but it's still a sponge, which is why we have that 6 mil polyethylene vapor barrier between the dirt and our slab itself. Because moisture, as the ground builds up moisture, that moisture can penetrate through over time through that foundation, mess up your floors, mess up your cabinets, stuff like that. So the same as with the basement, only you're down deeper. You're 8 or 10 feet deep down. You're going to hit water at some point. So where we build, it's just not conducive to basements.
Okay, makes sense. And then we have Nikki, who is waiting on her appraisal so she can be released to construction.
So are we, Nikki. That's exactly what we're waiting on. Thank you. Wonderful. Hang in there. It's coming.
Yes. Lupe has a question. Once construction is completed, will the dirt be leveled out around the home site, or does that fall on the buyer to do?
Okay. So, yes, around the home site, it is our responsibility to provide positive drainage a minimum of 10 feet away from the home all the way around. So that's typically what's called a final grade. Sometimes it's a rough grade and then a final grade. But yeah, we're going to come in there with a tractor and box blade or with a skid steer of some sort, some type of equipment, and knock the dirt down, obviously clean the side up, and then make sure that it's a nice smooth grading around the home where water drains away from the foundation all around. It is the owner's responsibility to maintain that drainage over time. So now beyond 10 feet or so away, that's not part of our responsibility. Anything beyond that is the owner's responsibility. Great question, Lupe.
Awesome.
Did we tell them it was going to be Ask Us Anything? Did we just went into it, didn't we?
Oh, I think we just went into it. We just assumed everybody. Guys, this is Ask Us Anything about building on your land. And I guess anything else you want to hear our opinions on.
It's almost
so
like
just keep doing what you're doing and dropping your questions.
It's like they read the ad, which is great.
I know.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Kristen, I am set on using tile in the 3 bathrooms and laundry room that is not dowel tile. Our Tilson rep tried to see if he could get it, and it's not possible. Can you tell me what would be the route to go to keep the floors as bare as possible so that, so that we can close on the house and have the tile installed after we close? This has been an ongoing struggle, and I'm desperate for help. So can we close on a house without floors?
Probably not, Chris, what we're going to be able to do. I mean, if it's a cash transaction, it's a little different story. We probably can work something out. On a loan transaction, they're not going to allow it to close without floors. Now, our concrete floors, who's to say if it's unfinished? There is an option that's rarely done. Floors is one of the things, though, that could be potentially allowed. Is it's floor coverings by owner. Now, in a situation like that, you would be doing your own. You would be the contractor for the floors. We need to double check in your area if it's kind of an all or none thing. If you can do the tile and we do the carpet or vinyl plank or whatever that we're going to be doing. I'm sorry, you do the tile, we do the carpet or vinyl plank or whatever we're going to be doing. Or if we need to do it all, but there are some rare occasions where the customer can do their own tile floorings during construction. Now that's a big undertaking. Okay. It's not just a weekend warrior type of project. That stuff, it's on a schedule. It must be done whenever your builder calls you and say, hey, I need the tile done. Doesn't sound like you want to do it yourself. So that's a good thing. That means you'd probably be hiring someone to do it. I'll tell you, tile contractors are in short supply right now, just like everything else. So they're very, very difficult to find and lock down. But your salesperson's right. For us, it's dial tile or we can't do it. That's the deal right now. So I do appreciate them being that transparent, honest with you about it. But find out if reach out to your consultant, find out if it's one of the areas that you could do the tile contract, and if you still want us to do the carpet and or wood flooring contract, see if that's a possibility. That may very well be something we're able to do, and that might be the best solution in this particular situation.
Okay. All righty. And then Sarah is building the LaPorte in Goliad. Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Let's see. Melissa saying she's surprised that Tilson didn't participate in the recent parade of homes in Brazos County. We don't do a lot of those. Simply because it's kind of confusing for customers, because most of the parade of homes are things that you could buy in somebody's neighborhood. So it gets a little confusing if we participate in those types of things. People don't really understand that it's a build on your land situation. So we kind of steer clear of those.
Yeah, and also Melissa, and I don't know, and forgive me because I didn't look into it. It may have been some of the situations we're kind of far on the north end of Brazos County, and a lot of the development that Dawn's talking about is in South Brazos County. So your College Station, Milliken, that kind of stuff down there, and we're way up on Highway 21. The other thing is we kind of want to be able to talk to the people who want to build with us, like you. So we want to free up our consultants there to be sure they can talk to you guys. But I'll tell you what, next week and next week only, I'll open the canyon for 7 days straight. I'm not going to close it for 7 days. It's open every day, 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday. I'm going to open it noon to 6 on Sunday.
Perfect.
Bring everybody you want to bring. No, Melissa, that's a great point. We do some community outreach like that. We try to do our community outreach to be kind of your county fairs, FFA stuff, supporting kids, supporting scholarships. Not as much involvement in the local home builders associations. But I do love the Bryan College Station HBA. They're good people.
Yes. All right. We've got Alan, Whitney in Colorado County. Foundation forms started last week, not framing. Okay. Getting a little ahead of ourselves. His wife is doing the typing and got ahead of reality.
Oh, Alan took it like a man and blamed it on your wife. That is bold. Glad I've never done that before.
We got Dominica. Love the videos and pics of completed Tilson homes. Such a great way for future customers to get ideas. Can't wait to start building with Tilson. Oh, thank you. Good. Yeah, we've been enjoying doing that and adding the new video tour. So that was a great idea that Kelsey and David had, and great way to show everybody. So we've got more of those scheduled, and anybody who wants to do it, who's watching, who's a customer, who's coming close to completion, let us know. We'd love to show off your house. Christopher is asking, what is the best way to find out what kind of total cost to build so I know what budget I have left to buy land?
Great question, Christopher. Okay,
that is a great question.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to do without already owning the land, and I'm not trying to scare you away from it. Okay, I mean you're going to be within a very close percentage point. Okay, so if you're budgeting for the whole thing. Okay, so you got the contract price of the house, and with Tilson, you can get pretty dialed in on that. Okay, we can get you go into one of our design centers, you can get the house, which elevation you want, what changes you want, what custom options you want. If you want to add footage, delete footage, move this over there, even as granular as what levels of flooring, cabinets, countertops, light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, all of that stuff can be dialed in very, 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 precisely. Okay, so you got that part. If we can get that, then we can probably help you get dialed in on most of your site work stuff. Okay, so your septic, we give you a pretty tight number on your water well based on what other people paid in the area. Driveway, utility line, water lines, electrical lines. If you're doing gas, we can help you get that dialed in. We can get that number there. So we got the house number, we got the site work number. You have the land number. That's what we're solving for. That's X, Dawn, in the whole out. That's what they call X. Okay, we're
using that algebra. Got it.
There you go. Okay, so by the way, she could do circles around me and all that kind of stuff. I don't even tell her what X is. So so what we're looking for, here's the big variable. Here's the Y, if you will, not the question Y, the letter Y, and that is the topography of the land itself and what's underneath it. And there's really no way to find. You can find out the topography. You can shoot the grades on it if it's cleared. If it's not,
right,
there's no way to do that. And because it's not your land, you can't clear it first and then go shoot grades on it. That's not going to happen. I wouldn't let you do that if I were selling land. They're probably not going to let you. Probably wouldn't let someone else do that on your land. So that's going to be a tough one to tell. And then the other one that you will not be able to tell without spending money is the geotechnical investigation. What is the soil like underneath the surface? How does it react to moisture? How does it react to lack of moisture? What's the potential vertical rise? What's edge lift? What's center drop? All that kind of stuff. The only way to find that out is have an engineer go do a geotechnical investigation, and they just flat out cost money.
And the land has to be cleared first for you to do that.
Correct.
So we're back to where we were with grade.
Great point. So those now, unless it's just wildly bad and slopes a lot, you're not talking tens of thousands of dollars. You're talking usually mid to high four figures, depending on where it is. Do some cost more than that? Yes, they do. We have some that cost $10, $20, $30, $50,000 more, depending on what needs to be done. Do we have to do a dirt pad? Do we have to do a big excavation? Is it a 13-foot out of level? So yeah, it could cost more than that, but it's very, very rare, Christopher. And if you let us, once you get dialed down to 2 or 3 pieces that you're looking at where you are, we're going to have a pretty good idea of what other customers in that area have spent on foundation engineering compliance costs. But that's really the only one. We can get everything else dialed in very, very precisely, absent the topography of it and what's underneath, which the engineer is going to have to be involved to do that, which you're not going to find that out before you buy it. Particularly in residential. In commercial, you kind of can. You can ask for like this 90-day due diligence period, and they let you come on and do a phase 1 and phase 2 environmental studies and all this kind of stuff. But again, the buyer is still spending money on those, whether they buy the property or not. Those are sunk costs.
Right.
So those are. It's just not really relevant for residential, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. So what do we think here? Like best first step though, probably go to a design center.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Set an appointment. I'm sorry. I talked for 4 minutes and didn't answer his question. My apologies, Christopher. To find out, schedule an appointment with the design center, go in and talk to them and tell them where you're looking at buying, how much land it is, and let us start dialing in the changes you want to the plan, the site work, and then you'll know kind of what budget you're working for your land.
Yep. And then the other thing, Christopher, when you're going to pick out land that I would suggest you do is look at completed homes in the area as well, to make sure that what you want to build is kind of appropriate for the area. Make sure that appraisal is going to come in where you need to be, because you want to make sure that you're around some stuff that kind of resembles what you're looking to build. Unless you're paying cash, then you can do whatever you want.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
All right. Brian is asking, are all recessed lights round? Because on my build, we have some square outlets where we are supposed to have recessed lights.
Brian. Okay, here's what's going on, buddy. We're using LED. It's called a traverse light, LED traverse light. All they have to have, so back in the day, whenever, Dawn and I were younger, there was, the recessed lights were like a foot tall, maybe more, 14 inches or so. So in the attic, you could see one brand was Halo, Halo, and they went way up into the attic. Okay, and you had this recessed light. The bulb itself was probably 5 inches tall, and you had to screw it in. Remember that? Okay, so
and they called it a can because it was one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right. It was a recessed can light. Great point. So that's not what we're using anymore. The Traverse light actually goes in what you're referring to, which is a junction box. It's a pancake type of, and I love pancakes. There are other people I know that love pancakes more, but I do like a good short stack of pancakes.
Nice.
Full stack's a little much, but short stack good to go. But they're pancake, or sometimes you're called a puck light. But the pancake light fixture, it's really not very thin at all. It actually goes in. It will still be round. So the part you will see, the trim kit and the light itself will be round, but it'll actually recess up into that the junction box that you're seeing, either the blue or the silver box that you're looking at while it's being roughed in. Great question, Brian. That's a good one.
Yeah, good question. Awesome. Let's see. Katie is asking, are there pictures of customer homes available in the design centers to help give us color scheme ideas and how different cabinets and colors actually work together? Yes, there are. Your consultant can actually pull up. We have a whole database internally of different customer home photos. So if you kind of look at what colors you're interested in, they can do a search for every other home that we've built that has that option in it to kind of show you what those look like. And we are working on getting all of that migrated to our website so that we don't have to be reliant, but it's going to take us a little while because of image tagging and all that good stuff. But that is something that we're working on. But
and Katie, it will be so that everything's transparent. It will be on a computer screen, what Don's referring to. It's not going to be like a folder that you can flip through. We do have some things like that. Some of your stone selections, some of the plumbing fixtures, appliances, things like that. We do have books to flip through. But what Don's referring to, this big database of stuff, to keep her from filling up the entire design center with pictures, it is a digital bank. And it's on our internal SharePoint site. Shout out Microsoft. You can send money to 411 Durham. You're welcome. And or just give us the free licenses. It'd be cheaper. But it's on our internal SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint site. So any office anywhere it should be able to search on a cabinet color, a countertop color, a brick color, a stone color, and pull that up for you. Pull up a picture or two. Now, what they can't do is kind of mix and match. So, like if this particular home had a color cabinet and a color countertop, they can't take that color cabinet and put on the countertop color on this other house. Like we're not there yet on that technology. Don's doing that next week. It'll be next week. Is it next week?
No. But also, Katie, all of the pictures that you see on our social media, we started last year actually tagging those and showing you what all of the colors are that are in there too. So if there's something specific that you're looking for, send us a message and let us know, and we can try to locate some pictures for you too.
Cool.
All right. Neil is asking, have you had requests for smart electrical service panels?
We have, Neil. So thanks for watching. Thanks for asking. We call them a we call them right now. Oh, boy. But anyway, we actually offer the boxes, the structured wiring panel. I knew it'd come to me. I had to get to the S's in the old Rolodex. So the structured wiring panel, we do offer them. We have, I think, 8-port and 16-port structured wiring panels that we do, which is basically just low voltage wiring that stuff is going to. Now, what I don't know, that's what I'm calling structured wiring panel. So that's your low voltage, your your Cat 5e, everything, your phone, all that stuff. If you're referring to something different, smart electrical panel, smart service panels, like where it's a automatic transfer switch over for a generator, that's not what I'm talking to. We have done those as well. But maybe get a little bit more granular on what you mean by smart electrical service panels, or the fact that I'm asking, maybe that means that we haven't done them, perhaps. So anyway, let us know if there's something deeper than the structured wiring you're after, Neil.
Okay. All right. And then John is asking, we have underground power staked out, but not yet run to the building site. Should we run power, install well, and then engage with Tilson, or engage Tilson first to guide where to put the electric rack, well, septic?
Okay. So I'm actually going to defer to your electrical service provider. So it's not going to matter as much to us. If you're wanting to run something on the well prior to us building, then that's the most important thing, right? Get the well up and going, get it powered up, and get that going. But I would engage us first, have us come out there, let you know kind of where we think the electrical service is going to be, because we're also going to help you kind of with a broader picture of, hey, here's where we see the septic being stubbed out. Here's where we see the electrical being stubbed out. Here's where we see the water being stubbed out. So we'll have lines going this way, lines going this way. Maybe you don't want to put the well over here. Maybe you don't want to run the service from there to there. Like, we can help you with that. But in a lot of cases, people talk about electrical rack system, kind of like what Pedernales Electric Co-op requires. They're not going to give you a lot of options on that. So maybe go to them first and say, hey, they said the rack needs to be here. And then we start from there and build our plan out. So it drives me crazy to have to defer to the power companies, but they're so different, John, that I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction, because one would tell you one thing, one would tell you something totally different. And I know that's frustrating. If you think it's frustrating for you, try working with 100 of them. And there's no predictability. And by the way, they are legalized monopolies. They do whatever they want to do, because you ain't getting power from nobody else. So that's, yeah. In this case, I'd probably say if we're just talking about the well, let us come out there first, or maybe I wouldn't even worry about the well first. I'd get the power company out there first. Kind of give them an idea of where you're wanting the house to be, because they're going to be the ones that dictate how many poles they need, or if they're coming underground, or where the transformer is going to set. In my case, where I am, they put the transformer there and the pedestal down below, and they leave like 3 or 4 knockouts for stuff. And my water well is directly wired up to the pedestal. My water well it's not wired to my house. So anyway, it's going to depend quite a bit, but get a hold of the electric company first, see what they say.
Yeah, they kind of put it where they want to put it, and then we work around it. So, all right. Shannon and Daniel are asking, I'm trying to figure out if I can get natural gas versus propane. I can't figure out how to find if that is possible. Can you give me some tips?
Ask your neighbors. So it actually, or even just drive around. So it's going to be a pretty easy tell. Can we just say the brand stats? We'll just say the brand stats, because I feel weird saying Shannon and Danielle. But if we, or not, maybe Shannon. Anyway, so drive around. If you see gas meters at the street, like the kind of the green colored or gray colored pipe coming out of the ground with a big thing sitting on it that's got some numbers on it, that's a good indication that you have natural gas. If you don't see those anywhere, and you see the big barbecue pit looking things sitting on the ground somewhere,
big old tank,
that's a pretty good indication that people have LP or propane. So I would do just a drive around first. My guess, if it's a really rural area, it's probably going to be propane. It's probably not going to be natural gas. You're going to know real quick if it's natural gas. You'll be able to see those. And typically when you have, maybe even on acreage sites, you have 2 1-acre sites or 2 2-acre sites. If they have natural gas, those meters will be beside each other. They don't usually put one way down here and one 400 feet down. Like, they run one gas line up there to serve 2 lots.
Okay.
Right? So you have a gas line coming up, and then a meter. They do that with water as well. They don't typically put a water meter every 250 feet or so. They'll have one line coming up, boom, 2 water meters there that service 2 lots, and then 500 feet later, they'll do another one. So a drive around is one way to find out. If you can't figure out from that, go knock on the door.
Yep, go knock on doors. Awesome. All right, we have Samantha. Hello, we just signed a contract to build the Canyon D. So excited. Would love to see customer photos of their Canyon home. All right, guys, if you've got canyons.
Samantha has called you out.
Samantha. Yeah.
She has mobilized the Tilson Army, the Tilson Photo Army.
Awesome. Speaking of a canyon, John Cade getting close to closing date on his canyon. So send pictures to Samantha. Thank you all for the superior service. Thank you, John. You've been wonderful.
John. Thanks, Justin. Thanks for hanging in there with us, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Louis is asking, how hard is it to build in Dallas? Any pointers or advice? Uh-oh. Eric's taking a minute. Are we talking like Dallas, or are we just like saying. Dallas area?
I'm thinking, so Louis, I'm going to answer this as if you're talking about inside the city limits of the city of Dallas, inside the municipality that is Dallas, Texas.
The pointers and advice don't?
The pointers and advice is sell your land and buy in Collin County or Rockwall County or Kaufman County. No, I mean, that is one idea. Probably what a kid would do. But it's not impossible. I mean, obviously, that we have built in Dallas, we built in Dallas County. it's going to be long. It's going to be longer. I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to be any harder. It will be a little bit more expensive just because they're going to have some tap fees, some impact fees, and things like that other areas do not have. You're paying for the services. Okay. They're cities, particularly big cities, and Dallas is a big city. They have lots of expenses. They have bureaucracies, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, they have large organizations that they have to fund. The police department in Dallas is more expensive than the police department in Waxahachie, Texas. It's a simple fact. Okay. It costs a lot of money to keep those wheels going. And that goes for all your city services, your garbage pickup, your fire department, your sewer services, your water services, your sewage treatment plants, drainage, all of it. Okay. And so they have parks, they have sidewalks, they have streets, they have all that stuff, and that all costs money. And so one way to raise all that money is through taxes. And believe me, they do. Another way to raise that money is through new construction impact fees.
Right.
Okay? You'll have a road impact fee, you'll have a park impact fee, you'll have a sewer impact fee. So in other words, the impact that your new home is going to have on the toll that you're going to take on their system that's in place. You pay for that. And then, oh, by the way, you pay in perpetuity every month for those services. So,
and sometimes you pay for a study ahead of time to determine what that impact will be so they can figure out what the fee is.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, it ain't going to be free. So it's going to be, and obviously the things that we just listed off, including what Don talked about, which is no light thing, would be any kind of study they require, conveyance study, mitigation study, drainage study. Those all cost money, but more importantly, they cost a lot of time because we have to get all those done by an engineer, and then we send them to the city. Guess who's working from home? And then so that they take 6 weeks. I saw another question about the Paladuro. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the city of San Marcos, when you submit something right now, they tell you we have 6 weeks to get back with you. It's a long time. It's a long time. So the pointers are: go down to the city with your address, tell them exactly what you're wanting to do, find out exactly what they're going to require of you as far as sewer, water. I don't know if there's already sewer there. Maybe there was at one point in time. Where's the sewer tap? How deep is it? Just tell them, hey, I don't know if you ever saw the TV show Columbo. That was my mantra. Was telling how you just play dumb, play completely ignorant. I'm really good at it. I'm not playing. I'm serious, seriously dumb. So you go in there and you say, hey, look, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm at 123 Mockingbird Lane, and I'm wanting to build a new home. Can you please tell me what this is going to look like? Even when you do that, Lewis, there is a high probability that they're not going to have everything lined up. I know this is going to shock you, but the city may not have all their T's crossed and I's dotted. They may not know when the last time that particular sewer tap was worked on and how deep it ended up. And if the guy who dug it actually turned the report back into the city, like that's the struggle is managing those expectations, Lewis. And I'm not trying to make light of your situation. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible by telling you that it's super. The bigger a municipality gets, the more unpredictable the requirements get. So it gets very hard to say. I mean, we may do one and it's a complete and total breeze, nothing to it. And then we'll have one 3 weeks later behind it, and it takes 7 months and it's a complete nightmare. And there's no rhyme or reason why one should be different than the other than the luck of the draw at the city. And I hate that. I hate it for our customers. I hate it for our builders. But that's reality. It ain't just Dallas.
Yeah. So pointers would be patience.
Patience and perseverance. Those are your 2 pointers.
If that's really where you want to be. If you're not sure if that's where you want to be, we highly recommend somewhere else.
Yep.
All right. We got Russell. We finally got all approval, and we are not getting a garage, and was told the electric breaker box will be outside and looks like it'll be right outside of the pantry. Was wondering why it can't go in the pantry.
Yeah, Russell. So there are some restrictions on the electrical code on proximity that the electrical service can be to shelving, proximity that has to be to items that could be stored. So closets, pantries, those things are kind of out of the picture. They even though there's probably no danger whatsoever, but putting a cardboard cereal box potentially next to the breaker box, that makes the electrical code nervous. Hanging clothes.
Twitchy. Remember the words twitchy?
It makes them twitchy. It makes them a little twitchy. Hanging clothes in a closet where there could be. It's the same. It's the same struggle. I will say, my first Tilson home I built, electrical service on the outside. I probably went out there in the 8 years I lived there. I probably went there 4 times. All 4 of those, I think, were to reset the arc fault breaker, which I hate, but that's a code thing. You're not going to go out there. You're just not going to go out there very much. I wouldn't rearrange the design of my house. There's not enough times you're going to have to go out there to reset stuff. If something is tripping a breaker, it's typically a GFI inside the house. Go find which one's tripping it and reset that one.
Push it.
And you're off to the races. It's so rare, Russell, that I wouldn't worry about if I were you. I'd just assume have it outside. Otherwise, inevitably, when you do want to access it, you're going to have to take everything off the shelves. You're going to take the trash can out of the pantry, move the cat litter box. Like, everything's going to have to be rearranged to get to it when you could have just walked around outside and been done with it. So that's my experience. That's my truth, as the kids say. Not down with that. Awesome. There's a truth. Anyway, different show, different day.
All right. Alan is asking, we know you will need a water softener. Does Tilson do the plumbing to prep for that?
We can, Alan. Now, it looked like you were well into construction. So if that's something that you were looking to do, that needed to be done already, probably, because a rough in for a water softener is something the plumber has to do prior to the slab. So I don't know exactly where you were in the process. I remember you posting earlier, but it can still be installed after the fact. I mean, there's aftermarket water softeners done all the time, but to get the hose bibs, the water spigots on hard water, that needed to be done ahead of time. It's not a game changer. Certainly not a showstopper. It can be done later, but we do plumb for it. But for us to do it, it has to be done prior to foundation.
Okay. All right. Melissa is asking, do you think prices, materials, and contractor availability will be back to normal within a couple of years?
I'm going to take a break, Don. You got this, so let's come back and let you.
Eric's looking for his crystal ball.
What was the Johnny Carson had a skit that he did with the hat and the envelope on the forehead. Okay, so
fortune teller thing.
Yeah. Here's what I think, Melissa. And I read a lot. I read The Cat in the Hat. I know all the Dr. Seuss greats, Mother Goose. Obviously we're looking at all these things. Okay, so here's what we're seeing. Supply has not caught up with demand anywhere close. There are not more contractors than there were. In fact, there's less skilled labor than there's ever been, because for probably going on 3 generations now, Melissa, we have been telling everybody in junior high and high school that you have to go to college, period. That's what you do. Right. You go to college, you get out, you go to college. So 1 generation, no big deal. 2 generations, okay, that's a tax. 3 generations into American society, now we got a problem, because now your average card-carrying licensed plumber in the state of Texas, or licensed electrician in the state of Texas, is over the age of 60. Plumbers, it was over 65. Average for master plumber's license in the state of Texas.
Oh, wow.
Over 65, okay? So we are in a major shortage of skilled labor, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, framing, painters, like true craftsmen, true skilled labor. It's a big shortage, because, again, we've told everybody to go to college for 60 years now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them did, and it was great. But what we probably didn't think of as society 60 years ago is, hey, who's going to build all the stuff that we currently do with our hands?
Right.
And so fast forward to 2021, that's where we are. All right. And really, this kind of started in mass after the last recession, 2007, 2008, 2009, when a lot of builders and developers were like, okay, going to school on that, not going to be stuck holding the bag with a whole bunch of inventory. So whatever the demand is, I'm going to be sure I keep my supply just a little below that, so that I don't get stuck with this margin here, the excess demand.
Right.
Sorry, the excess supply. My apologies. So what you're seeing is the industry as a whole, starting with developers, land developers, have said, I am not developing more lots than there's demand for. I'm just not. I'm going to talk to every national economist I can. I'm going to talk to the NAHB, the Fed, what mortgage rates are doing, how many people are applying for mortgages. I'm going to take all that data. I'm going to extrapolate that onto a plan for me, and I'm going to build just a few shorter lots than that. Builders, same thing. I'm going to build just a few less homes than that, understandably. Okay. Now we're in a different world. We're on your land builders. We're not production builders. We're not doing speculative building, or specs is what you hear that referred to. But
Right.
those guys drive the bus on the labor market. And so I'm afraid what you're going to see is prices are not going to come down unless there is a massive, ugly correction that none of us really want. I think we all intrinsically want to pay less for our own stuff. I want to pay less for, a ribeye steak. I want to pay less for a gallon of diesel. I want to pay less for my home. But broadly speaking, for all of us to pay less, what
everything
that means
we own
is,
has to be worth less.
Exactly. The economy has to come down, which means that's also your 401k, your teacher retirement, your 403b. Okay, so these are things that all of us want individually, but none of us want as a society. Because what that means is for real estate to go down collectively, that's actually a really, really, really bad thing for our country. That's not good. You don't believe me? Go Google what's happening in China with Evergrande right now with their real estate market. It's a hot mess. Okay. Now they got a whole bunch of other issues going on, but they did not handle their real estate industry right. And it's a mess right now. And it's a big, big problem. So I don't see contractor getting more available in the anytime in the near future, or price of materials. And if they do, what that probably means is a lot of us will not be in a position to buy a home, and probably won't be able to sell the one that you're in, right? Because that's the other thing is we all want to get top dollar for the house we're selling to be able to move into the house we're buying. We want the new house we're buying to be super, super low, but we want to get top dollar for the house we're selling. Well, that don't work, right?
Right.
You can't have both. If you're going to get top dollar for the house you're selling, you're probably going to end up paying higher than average for the one you're building or buying. Alternatively, if you want to get a low price for the home you're building or buying, you're probably going to have to get a low price for the home that you're selling. So it's I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but that's my opinion of what's going to happen. I think as long as rates are low, we're going to be in really, really good shape as an economy. But that will change too. The rates will go up. They really don't have a choice. The rates will have to go up eventually, probably in the next year or two. Rates will start creeping up. Not to unaffordable. I mean, they may go up to 4%. Mind-boggling, right? Like I remember selling houses at 8%. Tilson built home. We had built we built houses at 18, 21% interest in the 80s. Nuts. Right. So the American economy is very strong, and it always figures out a way to keep things going. So long as we're left alone for the most part. The Americans are smart. We're pretty smart and pretty resilient people.
Yeah.
Our kids, I don't know. I don't know about them kids.
Yeah. So my much shorter opinion, I don't think we'll go back to where we were. I think we'll probably stabilize out and see less volatility within the next couple of years, but people don't like the skilled labor that we were talking about. If they can demand that rate now, it's going to take a lot for them to take less money later, because we don't have a huge influx of people coming in. So I see it kind of leveling out about where we are now, with less of the up and down that we were seeing earlier in this year, but I don't see them coming down. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
All right. Kristen is asking, okay. Oh, so for her flooring, can you tell me what to ask him specifically? We talked about taking the entire flooring contract, but we weren't prepared to purchase and install flooring for the entire home, just the 3 baths and laundry.
Yeah. Ask him if you can take the tile contract. Ask him if you can take the hard surface contract, the tile contract. That's what you want to ask for. Can I take Now, what that will typically mean, Kristen, is that also involves your backsplash in your kitchen.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
And your tub and shower surrounds. Okay. But again, if you're going to hire a tile contractor, that's the deal. But yeah, it'll typically involve the hard surface contract. Okay. So tile floors and all the wet areas and wherever you're wanting them. And then also your tub and shower surrounds, which again, your contract would be in those bathrooms anyway. So it's not that big a deal.
Okay.
Great question.
All right. And then Deborah is asking, can you build one exactly like one of the models, like the Canyon?
So you can just tell me about exact, Mrs. Dantzler.
Not exact. because these are human beings that are building your house. So everything is going to vary just slightly. And then even in just like materials and selections, I know there's one tile in the canyon that's been discontinued. So we're not going to have the exact same materials, but one sheetrocker to another is going to put a different texture on. Everything's going to be slightly different. Your land's going to be different. So your foundation's going to have some differences. But the floor plan and general layout, yes, we can build you that model. It's just going to have slight nuances because even building the same model next to the existing model, it's going to be a little bit different because we're humans building something by hand. So it's going to be slightly different.
Boom. I have nothing to add to that, Your Honor.
All right.
Carry on.
Rudy from Austin, looking to build on my land in Bastrop. I will need a well and septic. Do we handle those things? What about solar and landscaping?
Well and septic we handle in Bastrop County. Solar and landscaping we do not handle in Bastrop County. So, all right. Great question, Rudy.
Great. All right. Theo has this question about the Polidoro. Has it been started? And can you give us an estimated completion date? He's building the plan in Robertson County. So no and no. So we have plans together, like Eric was mentioning. We are in the city of San Marcos. So we are 4 to 6 weeks out from every time they ask us for something. It's going to take them 4 to 6 weeks to review it. So if I'm correct, I think the last thing they were reviewing was our drainage, our water mitigation plan. So it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before they tell us if that's approved. And then if it's not approved, we have to revise it. And then it'll be 4 to 6 weeks before that. And I'm sure there's some other step after that 4 to 6 weeks that takes another 4 to 6 weeks. So I really wish I knew. But
and I wouldn't freak out completely on that, Theo. I mean, I know you're building in Robertson County, so you don't have to worry about all this garbage. But excuse me, this process is very important.
It's a very important process to make sure everything is done correctly.
Yes. Tell the helicopters and the black Suburbans that I said it's very important.
It's very important.
But we are also on a commercial piece of property, so it's a little bit different ballgame in there.
Right.
We're not building on a residential lot. We're building on 2.6 acres on Interstate 35. So TxDOT's involved, and the interstate highway system's involved, and the city of San Marcos is involved. We have an apartment complex behind us, so it's a little bit more. There's more, to use Don's word, there's more nuance involved in that than there is even in a residential city lot in San Marcos, and certainly exponentially more than in unincorporated Robertson County, Texas. So, but yeah, believe me, no one wants it done worse than we do. We want another model home there. So.
You might beat us, Theo. You might be done.
You might be the first.
We'll just send people to your house and call it the model, and who knows? But we're going as fast as we can because we know they're anxious to have that new model there. But right now it's a nice little fenced off area with plans applied for. All right. Alan is asking, I know Kentmore does drawers and corner cabinets odd shaped. Is that an option to include in our Whitney floor plan?
Yeah, Alan, you need to reach out. Now, again, if you're already in the construction process, there's a very good chance your cabinets have already been ordered. Okay, but reach out to your sales consultant and or your building superintendent. But yeah, I mean, there are some, they have like corner pull-out drawers and things like that. But again, if you're in construction, there's a very good chance that those cabinets are already ordered because of what lead times are doing right now.
Yeah. And Neil is clarifying on his smart electrical panel. He was talking about the main service panel.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's, Neil, I don't have as much experience with that. I know it monitors amperage usage and moves it around from breaker to breaker inside. And that's not something I have a lot of experience with. You can ask my wife. I'm not very good with electrical. I'm very dangerous with electrical. It's not a good thing to turn Eric loose. Big giant wires like the size of my thumb. I'm pretty safe doing that stuff because you can see it real good and use a wrench. But everything else, I get an electrician. So maybe get the sales consultant involved, and we'll inquire with our electrical company if they are familiar with smart service panels. But I haven't had a lot of. You might also find out from the provider if they even allow them. A lot of them they spec out what type of service panel has to be used. So something to think about.
Yeah, true. All right, we've got Sandy asking about water heaters. We asked our design consultant if we could install a tankless water heater near the bathrooms, as the water heater will be in the garage on the San Jacinto. We were told you only install gas tankless water heaters. Would it be possible to install an electric tankless water heater? If so, could we purchase it ourselves and have you install?
Okay. So, Sandy, I think what you're asking for is we're about two different things. There's tankless, and then there's on demand. And they do not mean the same thing, and they're not interchangeable. I think what you're referring to would be an on demand water heater. In other words, so the garage of the San Jacinto is on the opposite side of the home from the two main bathrooms, the master bath and bath two. It's near the utility room, kitchen, and half bath, but it's further away. So to Sandy's point, to illustrate for everybody on the show, on a tankless water heater, gas or electric, doesn't matter, it's still going to be located in one spot, whether it's in the middle of the house, in the attic, or outside, or in a garage, or whatever. And when you turn that hot water valve on at the furthest point, there's still cold water that it has to push out all the way between the hot water source, the water heater, and the valve that you just opened. So you're going to get cold water for some amount of time. What she's referring to is, can we put some type of little smaller one either under the sink or someplace that is an on-demand water heater, so that when I turn the valve on, immediately I have hot water at the source. There's a couple of ways to accomplish that. So I don't like having lots of pieces of equipment in my house, things that could go wrong. Particularly if I'm in a rural area, I'm on a water well, or I'm on some community water. Those types of water can tend to wreak havoc on electrical components. Perfectly safe to consume, but just the more things you have in line, the more things that could go wrong.
Right.
And so to me, if I'm worried about either, I'm just going to turn it on and just accept the fact that it's going to be on for 37 seconds before I get hot water. No big deal to me. I got to find a fresh towel anyway. And then, or the alternative is, I've seen what's known as a continuous water pump that we've put on a water heater, and they're on a timer in a lot of cases. So for instance, you can say that they put a pump on the water heater at the water heater, a little pump on a timer, and at 6 in the morning it kicks on, and it runs from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And what it's doing is it's actually circulating that hot water throughout the home, everywhere, all the way.
Oh, wow.
And then it shuts off at 8 o'clock because everybody's at work or at school or whatever. And then maybe at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, it kicks back on again and runs from like 7 to 9. Okay, because again, you're spending money to run a pump. It's not a big deal, but it's something. And it's on a timer, just like your irrigation system, just like a pool or anything else that's on a timer. Runs the exact same way, circulates the water so that any hot water valve you turn on, there's hot water there when you demand it. I'd prefer that to the little under the sink on demand water heaters. It just seems like a lot of things go wrong with those little dudes, little R2D2 guys. I'd prefer that. If it really is a concern to you, if you don't want to wait 30 seconds to a minute for your hot water to get there, that's what I would recommend asking for.
Okay.
Ask for a water circulation pump and go from there.
Okay, perfect. All right. Joe is sharing the addition of customer pictures are awesome. The Shiloh with the white cabinets and living room change is stunning. Keep up the great work. Oh, thank you, Joe. Yeah, we've had a lot of pretty Shilohs lately.
Yeah.
All right. Anthony is asking, can we include the installation of the member pole in our build? Waiting for Peck to do our stakeout, meeting and design service on Thursday in Bernie.
Okay, Anthony. We can, if we haven't started yet, we can put an allowance in there to pay for that. Now, the problem with that is that probably needs to be done pretty early on. And the way our allowances work is on a reimbursement. So you pay for it, and then we reimburse you once construction begins. But that could be a little while between when that needs to be done and when construction to begin. So it's pretty rare that people will include the installation of the meter pole in the build, but it has been done before. But you would have to basically get reimbursed for it later down the road once your house is released to construction.
Okay. All right. We've got Amanda building Angelina B in Rosenberg. Everything is ready to go. Just waiting on the call to meet our contractor.
All right, Amanda, hang with us.
All right. Tracy, I know everything is taking longer than usual, but how long should we expect our file to be with the estimating department before we meet with our builder?
So, Tracy, it depends on where you're building, because we're basically releasing those by county based on the builder's load or bandwidth. it doesn't do you a whole lot of good to put you in a builder's hands that's not going to be able to get to you because foundation contractor, framer, whatever is not available. So I don't know exactly what county you're building in. Forgive me, but it varies. Usually anywhere from 2 weeks to as long as 4 or 5 weeks that it could sit there in our estimating department. It doesn't take the estimators that long to do that, but what we'll sometimes do is have to hold on to it until 1 or 2 other jobs close or their foundations are placed before we release the more of them out to the builder. And again, it's just to keep from, hey, you release construction, but not really. Like that's not, it doesn't do anybody any good to do that, Tracy. So great question. And thanks for hanging in there with us. And it has to do with, again, going back to the question for contractor availability. There's just not as many as there needs to be in Texas.
All right. Jay, who asked us earlier about 2 stories, had to sign out before we could answer him. So he's asking again. So I'll take it this time. Meeting with Georgetown tomorrow. So Jay, the reason is just because of the nature of where we build. So 91% of our homes are in rural areas and most of our customers have an acre or larger. So a traditional 2-story, if you had like a 3,000 square foot home that was a traditional 2 stories with 1,500 square feet on both stories would just look small. It'd look odd in that wide of a space. So our customers tend to want to build out rather than up. That being said, we do have a few 2 stories that you can choose from. Georgetown's actually a great location to work with on that because they do a lot more building on smaller lots. So they can help you tweak any of the designs that we have to kind of pick out the house that you want, including, I don't know who you're meeting with, but if you're meeting with Danielle, we're building her house, which she completely just took one of ours and almost drew something new from scratch. So she's definitely a good person. That team can help you design the 2-story that you're looking for. But it's really just by nature of what our customers are looking for. All right. Alfredo is asking, will Tilson allow a security company to come and install a security camera wiring during the house build?
We can, Alfredo. I would work that with your construction superintendent. And typically that kind of a lull there where we're getting inspections done. So kind of after the HVAC, electrical and plumbing is done, and while we're waiting for inspections to begin, that's a good time to do that. I will tell you, do it wireless. I would not try and wire one up and do it. You're going to spend way more money you have to, and it ain't necessary. And the technology, by the time you install the cameras, they're going to be obsolete. So do something wireless and be done with it. That's personal experience. Yeah. I got wires all over the house. Nothing's hooked up to them anymore, including speakers. Big waste of money.
All right. Pete is asking, if you've built in an area before, does this mean you have a general idea of the costs associated in that area? Plus, are those costs additional or within the building of a Tilson home in Micro?
Well, it seems like a very loaded question, Pete. But here's what I'll say is the answer is yes, we have a general idea of the cost of what it was the last time we built. Now, what the city council done or county commissioner has done or whoever has done in the last 30, 60, 90 days, 2 years, who knows? We could go build a house 3 months ago and then at last week's city council meeting, they pass a comprehensive water mitigation plan where they require conveyance studies and mitigation studies on every plan. That's happened before. And we roll in there, the next customer spends $12,000 extra on stuff that's not necessary. There's necessary for the city because they require it. It ain't necessary to build. Now, that being said, Myco's not really one of those type of places. It's going to become one, I can tell you right now, because Medina County is going to be it's more and more people are going to gravitate to get out of Bexar County. That's what Texans do. That's what the U.S. does, is we have high concentrations of urbanization, and that pushes normal people like us out to the suburbs. And then it pushes even more normal people out to rural areas. Like I can't handle all this traffic and stuff. So they keep going out and out and out. And eventually Myco will become the next Bernie. And I know that sounds crazy, but y'all can mark my words today. It is October 19th, 2021. In 15 years, Myco, Texas will be the next Bernie. It just will. And that's and good for them. It's going to be awesome for people's property values. But you got to just watch close the high growth, fast growth areas, Pete. Again, right now, we're not experiencing anything crazy in Myco, Texas, but we can always get the address we're going to be building. We'll check if you're inside the city. We'll check with, obviously, we're going to check with the city of Myco. So if there's anything in particular. If you're not, it's probably not going to be a big deal at all. Great question, though.
Okay, great. Jessie is asking, how soon after contract do we get to the design center goodness? She can't wait to pick out her glitter ceilings. She can't let it go. We're going to be talking about glitter forever.
You're going to have to charge way extra for the glitter ceilings. Yeah, thanks for reaching out. It depends on the design center. Some of them schedule it within a couple of weeks. Some of it is about 6 weeks out. Either way, for sure, it will be done beforehand. If you're just itching to get them done, call your design center and schedule it. Call your sales consultant and say, hey, I really want to have my design meeting. I'd like to do this now and get that done. They'll schedule it for you. They're not going to tell you no.
Absolutely.
If they do, call down.
Just message me. I'll make it happen. It's fine. So David, checking in. Christy, Jason, and David are taking a break out at the LaSalle model. Guys, they are doing exciting stuff for you. So they are filming a bunch of customer care videos today, showing you guys maintenance tips and stuff like that. So we'll be launching those at the end of the year. But fun goodness, like how do we assure proper drainage away from our foundation, and how do we change out our screens, and how do we change the filters in our HVAC system? All of that good maintenance tips that everybody needs. So
and I'm
really excited about that.
with Christy and Jason taking a break. I don't know if I'm real cool with David taking a break. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about that. I think you need to clock out, buddy.
David works hard.
Clock out.
All right. Jackie is asking if we can tell her the name of the stone supplier. She would like to order some ourselves to build our fence pillars and outdoor kitchen.
Jackie, I tell you what, I know you mentioned Chris earlier. When you get when you touch base with Chris again, ask him where the stone's coming from, because sometimes the stone supplier is different from who we're actually the yard we're getting it from. So we have the people who quarry the stone, who harvest it out of the ground, and then they ship it to various distribution centers, wholesalers who distribute to our job sites. So I'd want to get it straight from Chris for you. So find out from Chris where he's getting it from and see if that's, you can contact them and order some when you do that.
Okay.
Great question.
Perfect. All right. Chris is agreeing with you that the hot water recirculation pumps work fantastic.
Chris is a genius.
BJ, just tuning in. Slab is ready. Framing wood delivered yesterday. At this point, what would be a best guess at home completion?
Several months from now is my best guess.
Yes.
You know, BJ, I wish I could give you a better date than that, man. Your superintendent's going to know how things are dialing in his particular area way better than I will, because he knows the latest and greatest supply chain disruptions he's been experiencing, and it's different every week. But I'd reach out to him and find out a little bit more about what that looks like. But it's going to be multiple months from now.
Okay. All right. Pete is asking, can the alternate Abilene kitchen be built into a canyon home?
I thought it said the ultimate Abilene kitchen. Yes, it can. I don't know. I'm not looking at them side by side right now, Pete. I'm sorry. Don can pull them up. I was looking at something else.
Take a look real quick.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we can alter just about any plan to fit any other plan's kitchen. Some fit better than others. But the canyon's a pretty good sized kitchen, so there's a bigger chance we could probably accommodate that. But I don't know about I don't know the exact Abilene alternate kitchen, but it's probably just a very large
really
island.
Cool thing about the Abilene alternate kitchen is it's got that island that kind of does the like wraparound seating. That I know we can put in other homes because we actually just added it as one of our standard island options.
Okay.
Looking at the two, I don't see why we couldn't. So I'm going to say, tell your design consultant what you want to do, and they can probably make it happen. Talk to them about what you're looking to accomplish. The one thing that Abilene kitchen does have is it has like an extra wall that the canyon doesn't have, but we should be able to do something to extend it out. So I'm sure we could make it happen.
There you go. Straight from the source.
All right. Rudy is asking, how modifiable are your floor plans? I think the best definition of that came from Holly in San Marcos, and she said that we can do anything within the laws of physics, building code, and your budget. So yeah, our floor plans are very modifiable. We can change up anything that you like. Just go in with kind of an open mind. Tell your consultant what you're looking to accomplish, and we'll draw it up for you and get it done. Theo says we are absolutely welcome to use his home as a model. So great for that. It's awesome. Martha is saying, what is the timeline to finish the house? We are getting the Livingston, just waiting for the pre-construction meeting.
Okay, so actual construction times right now are longer than they've ever been. I mean, we're talking 9-10 months on construction in some cases right now, because of all the supply chain disruptions and contractor availability or lack of contractor availability. So I would plan around 9-10 months. But again, your superintendent, once you meet him at the pre-construction meeting, can give you a better idea of time frame wise what you're looking at. One thing that can help with that is any things that you are responsible for, having those buttoned up as quickly as possible. Some things you can't until we're done, but certainly things like power, water, septic or sewer system, if you're doing your own final driveway, things like that, having those scheduled and completed as quickly as possible are things that expedite that closing process, that construction process. So great question.
All right. And then we have Chris Allered agreeing that Chris is a genius.
I wish I could say no relation, but we aren't exactly the Smiths. We aren't exactly the Smiths. So I may or may not be related to that old man.
All right. And that is the last question I see. So if you guys have anything, or if I missed your question, I was trying to hit all of them, but if I missed you, go ahead, start typing so we can make sure to answer. I did have one that came up earlier today that I did want to ask. I did want to answer because we get asked this a lot in a lot of different ways. People are asking, how do I get featured on the Tilson social media and website? And really the way to do that, guys, is ask your design consultant when you are in the design center, ask them to take your picture and ask them to share it. Let us know that you want to be seen. If a picture wasn't taken when you signed your contract or when you did your design center meeting, if the consultant didn't take one yourself and send it to us, or send us just your favorite family photo that you have. We want to recognize everybody. So we're sharing everything that we can, that we have permission to, and don't want anybody to feel left out of that. So if you want to be on our website, if you want us to tell your story, if you want to meet with David and do a video telling your Tilson story, showing off your house, any of that, just let us know. We love sharing everything that's going on. It's helpful to all of our other customers, and we just love to see what happened and what we designed, and be able to show it to all of our employees as well as all of you. So if you want to be featured on our website, let us know.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. This has been a great one. Obviously, it was Ask Us Anything. Not that you need to be told that. So obviously, we have a whole bunch of places that you can go find us. We have a Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel. We have an Instagram page. We have a website that's open 7 days a week. We have 12 design centers open 7 days a week, including our newest one in Waco that is open and taking appointments. So we'd love to meet you guys, love to talk to you guys, love to find out what you're trying to do, what kind of vision you have for building a home on your land in rural Texas. We'd love to visit with you about that, tell you about everything that we know, answer all your questions, whether you use us or not. Use us as a resource. Because we want you to have a wonderful experience and fulfill this for your family. So we have a couple of shout outs, one more question, and then we can sign off because one is really sweet. So
let's see. Martha, I want to give a shout out to Danielle Bailey from Angleton, Texas. She is our consultant and she's amazing. Awesome. Thank you. Callie is asking, is the pre-construction drive needs to be compacted? Yes.
It really does, Callie. Yeah, it really does. We recommend that for sure. Yeah, it needs to be compacted.
Okay. Kenneth is sharing they started our framing last Tuesday and they're doing a great job. Awesome.
Hallelujah, Kenneth. We're so happy your pad was finished for Gloria County. I remember you well, sir. Yes, thanks for hanging in there with us.
And then Peter is asking, waiting to be released to construction. Is it too late to change the siding type at this point?
Typically, yes, Peter, it is. Yeah. Okay. It's not, but it is going to be a lot more time.
It's going to delay things.
Things significantly to change the siding at this point. Because again, we're trying to chase out in front of those lead times, the ones that are predictable. So a lot of the stuff's been ordered already.
All right, awesome. And that is
with that, we will say thank you again to everyone. We really appreciate you tuning in. Even you, Chris Allerin, appreciate you tuning in. And if you have any questions, obviously reach out to us. We want to talk to you guys, want to hear from you guys. Send us pictures, send us images, send us questions. And we're so grateful for you and your families. And Dawn, thank you for putting this on.
Thank you.
Every week, the hard work that you do. And we really genuinely soon hope make you guys part of the Tilson family. We'll see y'all later.
Bye, everybody.